Increasingly desperate, Meghan Markle flies into the UK. It's a circus. F off back to Montecito.
They are here. Meghan Markle, Archie, and Lilibet did not stay hidden in California. They entered the United Kingdom quietly, traveled to Highgrove, and joined Harry for a private meeting with King Charles and Queen Camilla.
Surprising news out of Buckingham Palace. Prince Harry and his family make the long-awaited royal visit to the King and Queen.
And it does come after the usual royal drama.
After days of confusion, denials, security warnings, palace arguments, and reports that the family visit had collapsed, the Sussexes pulled off the biggest surprise of the entire trip. So did that will they, won't they game work in their favor?
At first, it seemed security concerns might keep Harry, Meghan, and the kids away. But since he split with the family, Harry has had a rocky relationship with his father. Now it appears, though, it was the king who very much wanted this to happen.
Suddenly, one detail from this week makes far more sense. We kept asking the same question every time Harry appeared in public. Why was he smiling? Why was he joking? Why did he look so relaxed after losing a massive court case, being dragged into another palace accommodation fight, and facing headlines that made his return look like a complete disaster?
The Duke of Delusion has tried to put a smile on his face as he leaves Chatham House and new footage with a thumbs up. With a thumbs up to try and suggest that everything is okay.
Now we may finally know the answer. Harry already knew Meghan and the children were coming. He knew the meeting was still alive. While the public thought his week was falling apart, Harry may have been protecting the one plan that mattered most. They would dominate every headline with one massive win. That changes the entire story.
Meghan and Harry won. They got everything they wanted. They haven't had to say as much as a sorry or a by your leave or an excuse me. And today they got the thing that they'd been looking for all this time, FaceTime with the king.
Before we continue, I want to mention something really quick. Organizing your family's important information is one of those things most of us know we should do, but we keep putting it off. That's exactly why there's the Family Vault. It gives you one place to organize your important documents, insurance, medical information, passwords, and more, so everything is easy to find when it's needed. You'll find the link in the description, or you can scan the QR code on your screen. That's all. Now let's get back to today's story. Harry was not simply wandering through Britain with nothing left to lose. He may have been counting down the hours until his family arrived, and all of those defeats would be overshadowed by one meeting with King Charles. But this surprise creates a much more dangerous question. Why was everything hidden so carefully? Why did Meghan avoid every public event? Why were Harry's appearances presented as solo engagements while his family remained out of sight? And why did the final confirmation arrive only after the meeting had already happened?
But she doesn't want things to be private. She doesn't want things to look like they have the appearance of still being on the outside if, no one can see that they are benefiting from being in alignment with royalty again. Because the Sussex brand was built on the royal connection.
This was not a normal family visit. It was controlled from beginning to end. But doesn't that feel unusual? Especially when it comes to Meghan. A public meeting with King Charles would have been PR gold. One official photograph could have transformed the entire narrative and helped rebuild their public image overnight. Oh, why hide it?
The Sussexes' star is fading fast. It's dipping below the horizon. They've understood now for a long time that the public's interest in them is only based upon their proximity to the royal family. The more distant they grow from the royal family, the less relevant they become. Nobody's interested in another wannabe Martha Stewart. It's all about the proximity to the institution of the crown.
And what's the real plan behind all of this? That silence may have been the price of the meeting. Before Harry arrived, reports claimed that any private family time would come with strict conditions. No cameras, no later Instagram posts, no commercial activity connected to the visit, no interview in America revealing what Charles said behind closed doors.
Even ask her to hand over her devices before any such face-to-face.
In other words, the palace appeared determined to prevent another private royal moment from becoming material for a documentary, a podcast, a book, or a publicity campaign. But can that privacy last? That is the real test now.
They weren't able to stick to these rules. They aren't planning to stick to these rules.
Harry has reportedly assured his father that he will not discuss the meeting publicly. Unfortunately, the picture now looks very different. If the agreement really was no commercial activity, Then why are cameras reportedly following parts of this trip?
There is a camera crew coming for the Invictus Games. It's always for the Invictus Games, isn't it? Yeah, right.
If everything is purely private, what exactly is being filmed? Invictus, a future documentary, B-roll, family memories, or something much bigger? Because that's where many people become skeptical. The promise was simple: keep the royal family out of commercial projects. Yet almost immediately, reports about camera crews began appearing.
They lie like Pinocchio. Last Friday, Eden writes, they all received a long message confirming details of Prince Harry and Meghan's return visit to Britain. It wasn't just the type of short message they sometimes receive, but a long operational note detailing exactly what the couple would be doing after they landed in the country.
So was the agreement ever going to last? Or was it always designed with loopholes? And Meghan's presence makes that question even bigger. Meghan understands publicity. She knows the value of a photograph, the power of a carefully timed appearance, and the attention created by one unexpected royal image.
The titles matter. Having an open family connection matters to Meghan Markle. Knowing that they have proximity to royalty, it matters. So the story only works if Harry still has some doorway back into the royal world.
A picture of Charles with Archie and Lilibet would have traveled around the world within minutes. A photograph of Meghan entering Highgrove would have dominated every front page. It could have changed the tone of her entire British image overnight. So why agree to a meeting that produced no visible public reward? Was Meghan willing to accept strict conditions because the family connection mattered more this time? Or does she believe the real value will come later, after the immediate visit is over? Those camera crews suddenly make a lot more sense now.
Already, this Megson deal is a joke because we're talking about a camera crew for the Invictus Games. They always say it's for the Invictus Games, but also a camera crew for Althorp. So the idea that they're coming to the United Kingdom and this is a private visit and it's not just a content farming operation for them, I think is total rubbish.
The family had reportedly been in Europe before entering the UK. That gave them a way to remain nearby without confirming the final plan too early. Harry could complete his public engagements while Meghan avoided the cameras. Then, when the security arrangements and family schedule were ready, they could travel to Highgrove without creating the public scene that had threatened the visit for weeks. If that was the strategy, it worked perfectly.
By doing that, Harry has just completely undermined the argument that he has spent months making that the country is too unsafe for his family.
What happens next could answer that question. Will the Sussexes leave Britain without revealing a single private detail? Will there be no photographs, no emotional statement, and no anonymous briefing about how warm the meeting felt? Will Meghan return to California and allow the moment to remain completely private? Or will carefully selected details begin appearing within days, each one improving the image of a royal reconciliation that nobody was allowed to see? But Highgrove may not have been the only reason Meghan and the children came to Britain.
But the timing for me is just a little bit too suspect, just because of years of covering Harry and Meghan, all of the games, all of the lies, everything that we've seen since Megxit. They plot, they plan, and this to me just seems like something out of Meghan and Harry's playbook, hence why they suddenly turn around and said, do you know what, the kids are coming.
Another question is now hanging over this entire visit. What happens at Althorp, where Princess Diana is buried? There has already been speculation that the family could visit Diana's grave during this trip. On the surface, that would be completely understandable.
Harry would be stupid enough to believe that his wife just wants the children to connect with their grandmother. Harry, they might feel the spirit of your mother like I did, you know, and he'd just follow along with it because it's Harry. But yeah, I think this is more to do with what this trip is about than what it was, a reconciliation with the king.
Harry may want his children to learn more about the grandmother they never met. It could be a deeply private family moment. But then another detail changes everything. Reports have suggested that a camera crew may already be connected to Harry's Invictus work, while there has also been talk of a future project connected to the 30th anniversary of Diana's passing.
I personally do not trust Harry and Meghan, and when they have put out statements saying, of course we're not working on a Diana documentary, I personally do not believe them. They are both very obsessed with Diana. Harry has taken ownership over Diana's memory. Meghan likes to dress like Diana. It's not once or twice, it's been continuously. It's not just from a few years ago.
So was this family trip planned only for reconciliation with the king? Or was Althorp always part of the bigger plan? Think about the contradiction. The Sussexes reportedly agreed that their time with the royal family would remain private. No cameras, no commercial activity, no Instagram photographs, no interviews revealing what happened behind closed doors. But what if the cameras are simply kept away from Highgrove and then brought back when the family arrives at Diana's grave?
Has been closed, a scheduled closure, unusual at this time of year, for 2 days when Harry and Meghan are here with their children.
Would that technically respect the agreement while still producing one of the most emotional scenes Harry and Meghan could possibly use? A grandfather meeting his grandchildren is powerful, but Harry walking with Archie and Lilibet toward Diana's resting place would create headlines around the world.
And it's also Netflix are hanging on to them. They're throwing them little tidbits and bones. I don't think Netflix are hanging around for Carly Fortune's book. I don't think Netflix are hanging around because they might buy some sort of war film that Harry and Meghan are producing. Would they hang around for footage of Lily and Archie at Althorp? Like, you know, at Diana's gravesite, photographs? Oh, yeah, absolutely. That would be gold for Harry, for Meghan. Well, let's be honest, for Meghan.
And that is why some people are questioning whether this visit has another motive behind it. Did Meghan come because she finally wanted peace with the royal family? Did Harry bring the children because Charles wanted to see them? Or was the family also needed for a Diana project that could never be filmed in California? If this was only a private pilgrimage, why has there been so much talk about cameras and future content? And if footage does eventually appear, will people still believe that this entire trip was about healing?
Harry and Meghan were bringing the kids for footage for the secret Diana documentary. The children at her gravesite at Althorp would be gold for Netflix, but they knew if they brought the children over to do that and didn't take them to see the king, it would make them look bad. So they sprung it on the palace. Hence why Harry has suddenly had a change of heart, even though his security demands have not been met.
Or will it look as though reconciliation with the king created the respectable family story, while Diana's grave provided the emotional material? That would explain why this visit had to remain secret until the last moment. It would explain the smiles. It would explain the confidence. And it could explain why Meghan finally returned after years of keeping her distance. Maybe Highgrove was the public shock, but Althorp could still be the real story waiting to explode.
The king is still kind of supporting Harry. I think it's just not good. You have seen what they have done in the past. Learn from that. They have already put a lot of things out there that don't look good for the monarchy in terms of the allegations that Harry is trying to walk back now.
The press spent days asking whether Meghan had abandoned the trip. Commentators debated whether she would ever return to Britain. Reports claimed security concerns had destroyed the family reunion. Harry was photographed alone, and the absence became almost as important as the events he was attending. Then the truth arrived at the last moment. Meghan had not rejected the UK completely. She had rejected the public part of the visit.
Where people have not seen them because they use the private VIP entrance and exits at the airport. These two are capable of coming over here in privacy if they want to.
The timing also matters. Harry's week looked disastrous before this meeting. His legal case against the publisher of the Daily Mail was dismissed. Minutes after the news, however, Harry appeared composed, cracked a joke about the heat, and continued with his Invictus work.
This has been a bad week for Harry. No, this has not been a bad week. It's been a terrible week. Absolutely one of the worst in his life. I mean, it's even worse than when he dressed up as a Nazi.
That reaction confused people. A major legal defeat should have been the moment Harry looked crushed. Instead, he kept smiling, greeting people, and moving through his schedule as though the worst headline of the week could not touch him. Was that simply discipline? Was he refusing to give photographers the image they wanted? Or was he smiling because he knew the public still had no idea that Meghan and the children were already moving closer to Britain?
How many faces I recognize from those different groups who were part of the original journey back in 2014. Some of us have lost more of our hair. Some of us look younger than we did before. Some of us look older.
They didn't laugh. He's in a room with his biggest supporters. They didn't even laugh.
Meghan did not stand beside Harry at the court fallout. She did not appear at his Invictus events. She did not face British crowds, uncomfortable questions, or the risk of a hostile reaction. She arrived only for the most valuable private family moment of the entire week.
The oxygen goes out of their attempts to make lots of money because America, Spotify, Netflix, everybody's turned their back because they've seen this couple for what they are. The only thing that they've got left is to not ingratiate themselves, but have a little bit of a visit, be seen, because I don't trust them. I think it will be out there with pictures and everything. I think they've proven that.
Critics will say she avoided every difficult part and appeared only when a meeting with the king became possible. Supporters will say she protected her children and respected the palace's demand for privacy. Which explanation do you believe? Did Meghan finally put family before publicity? Or did she choose the one appearance that carried the greatest long-term value while avoiding every public risk?
They called the British royal family racist. So why is it when the jam orders dry up that what they want is to be seen or a picture or some news about, as you said, they're still close to the royal family?
That is why the secrecy does not end the speculation. It multiplies it. There is another problem. The alleged arrangement was simple. Harry and Meghan could pursue commercial work in America, but any royal family time in Britain had to remain completely separate from business. No merching, no filming private royal meetings, no turning a family visit into promotional content. On paper, that sounds clear. In reality, questions started immediately. Reports also suggested that a camera crew would be connected to Harry's Invictus activity.
So that's just never going to be good. You're just asking for trouble, and I think it could be a direct reflection to the monarchy when there is still this couple trying to dictate things for their own careers, their own futures.
That may be completely legitimate because Invictus is a public project, and filming its events is not the same as filming Charles at Highgrove. But once a camera crew is traveling with the wider operation, the line becomes dangerously thin. Where does charity coverage end and Sussex content begin? The same concern surrounds reports of a possible visit to Althorp, Princess Diana's family estate and burial place. There is also a possibility of footage being collected for a future Diana documentary.
He needs to try and take them to Althorp to film for the documentary which they want to put up to market for the 30th anniversary of Princess Diana's death. And being able to have some footage of that, even if it's only mobile phone footage, is significantly going to up the value. So can we please just stop talking about the fact that there's any type of altruistic element to it, P. Dina?
If cameras appear near that visit, the argument over privacy will explode immediately. Think about the contradiction. The Highgrove meeting is described as too private for one photograph, yet another part of the trip could potentially be filmed for future content. The palace may have drawn a hard line around Charles, but can it control what happens after the Sussexes leave royal property? Can Harry promise that one meeting remains private while allowing the wider emotional journey to become part of a documentary? This is where the old trust problem returns.
They know that their only thing that's ever brought in decent money has been to do with the royal family. There's all of this drama that's come out of nowhere. They are the masters behind it. They're the ones pulling the strings. They're the one releasing the operational notes and pulling the plug.
Royal aides do not only worry about a hidden phone inside a room, they worry about memories being repeated later, private words being reconstructed, and emotional moments being presented from one side. Even if every device was left outside Highgrove, the people inside still remember what happened. The real protection is not removing a camera. The real protection is trusting that nobody will sell, tease, or weaponize the conversation later. That trust was badly damaged years ago.
Meghan Markle will be in the UK in a public way in one way or another. Guys, she can't help it. She loves the publicity. She loves the attention, and she desperately needs the opportunity to merge.
She's going to try to use them as much as she can.
That is why the reported rules for this visit sounded so strict. No cameras, no posts, and no later revelations were not random demands. Harry agreed because he needed this meeting. He had spent years saying that Britain was unsafe for his family without the security protection he wanted. He had argued that the lack of automatic police protection made visits difficult. Yet this week, after another security dispute and a chaotic argument over accommodation, the family still found a way to enter Britain and reach Highgrove privately.
When I'm in London, I'll be on my own, but I might take Megs and the kids up to Birmingham.
I mean, it's one country. These that he's worried about, and the stalkers, although I would have thought Harry's stalker has had enough now. I think she's checked out. I think even she's like, look, I'm sick of this guy. Please don't mention Harry's name again. Yes, I might be his stalker, but I am out. Does he not think that they can get on a train? Does he not think that they have access to public transport? Does he not think they could even maybe hire a car and drive from dangerous London to incredibly safe, idyllic Birmingham. Make it make sense.
That fact will now be used against his wider argument. How Meghan and the children traveled securely when reports had suggested the visit was nearly impossible. They will point out that the family arrived without a public airport scene, moved without being followed by crowds, and completed the meeting without disruption. If privacy and protection were possible this time, why was the trip presented as being on the edge of collapse?
His people release he's under threat from at least 6 plots in the UK.
Very important. He's a very important person.
And Dan Wootton he responded like, this is the most ridiculous, artificial, made up document. It comes from Harry's office.
Harry's answer may be that this visit required exceptional arrangements that cannot be guaranteed every time. One successful private journey does not automatically solve the security dispute, but politically and publicly, the image is powerful. The family came. The meeting happened. Nobody was harmed. The plan remained secret until it was complete.
And everybody's talking about reconciliation, Harry reconciling with his father, his father seeing the grandchildren. Let's not forget Thomas Markle. Thomas Markle hasn't seen his grandchildren at all, although the king did in 2022, and he's never met his son-in-law. So, is reconciliation on both sides. Let's not just make it one-sided.
Imagine the pressure behind the scenes. One leak could have destroyed the plan. One photograph at an airport could have created a chase for the family. One public comment from Meghan could have made the palace nervous. One angry statement from Harry after the court ruling could have convinced Charles that nothing had changed. Harry therefore had every reason to stay calm, smile for the cameras, and avoid detonating the meeting before it happened. For once, restraint may have produced a result.
So glad Prince Harry took police off the London streets from fighting crimes to manage this massive, massive crowd. It's journalists, look.
Harry issued an angry statement after the court loss, but he did not sit down for a long interview while the reunion remained undecided. Meghan did not post a triumphant message from Britain. The palace did not brief every detail before the family arrived. All sides kept enough control for the meeting to take place. That is why people are asking about motive. Was this mainly a grandfather seeing his grandchildren? Was it Harry proving he can still gain access to his father? Was it Meghan testing whether Britain can be useful without requiring her to face the public? Was it the first step in a long reconciliation plan? Or was it the opening scene of a future production that will reveal everything except the parts the palace tried to protect?
Soap opera, different chapters every day, not quite sure where the plot is taking us.
The answer may depend on what does not happen next. If no private detail leaks, no photograph appears, and no commercial project uses the reunion, then this could be the first real sign that Harry understands the cost of rebuilding trust. Silence would become evidence.
It's on the front page of the biggest selling newspaper in the UK, and that's what it's all about. The way that it's been handled is purely about making sure that everything he does and says, and it's all part of the brand, keeps them current. Will they, won't they be part of Buckingham Palace, be at Buckingham Palace? I feel sorry for the king with this because he's been played, I think.
Before we continue, one quick thing. One thing I've realized is that most families don't have their important information organized in one place. That's exactly why I recommend the Family Vault, a simple printable and fillable organizer where you can keep everything from important documents and insurance to medical information, passwords. You'll find the link in the description, or you can simply scan the QR code on your screen. Now let's get back to today's story. And there is one final twist. The secrecy that protected the meeting also created the perfect headline. For days, the public believed Meghan was gone. Harry looked alone. Their family plan appeared dead. Then came the shocking reversal. She was in Britain after all.
Honestly, your kids and Meghan must be so proud of you. Do they tell you every day? They don't tell me every day that they're proud of me.
No, they don't. Because they're not proud of you. She's not proud of you. She's using you, but she's not proud of you. It's almost so tragic that he can't see it.
Whether intentional or not, the mystery produced more attention than a normal announced visit ever could. That is why this story is not over. The reunion happened, but the real test begins after the Sussexes leave Highgrove. Harry's terrible week ended with the one victory nobody saw coming. He lost in court, fought another palace battle, and appeared to stand alone. Yet behind the scenes, Meghan and the children were coming closer. The smile now has an explanation. The secrecy now has a purpose. But the motive is still hidden. So what do you think? Was this a genuine family reunion protected from the cameras, or a carefully controlled first step towards something much bigger? Why did Meghan accept total privacy when publicity has always followed the Sussex story? Will the Highgrove rules survive once they return to America? And what happens if cameras appear at the next deeply personal stop? Tell me your theory in the comments. Was Harry smiling because he knew the surprise was coming? Did Meghan finally choose family over attention? Or did the Sussexes just execute their most effective publicity move yet? Like this video, subscribe to Crown Clash, and stay with me, because the private meeting may be over, but the real drama has only just begun.